Audiobook name How to Find G-Spot, written and published by Dr. Prashant. Book overview: How to Find G-Spot. This book is your ultimate guide to exploring pleasure, connection, and intimacy in a way that feels natural, enjoyable, and deeply satisfying. Written in simple, conversational language, it dives into the mysteries of female pleasure and helps you build a stronger connection with your partner. Whether you're a curious learner or someone looking to deepen your relationship, this book will guide you step by step in understanding how to bring more passion and joy into your intimate life. It's not just about the G-spot, but also about exploring the emotional and physical aspects of intimacy. Each chapter is designed to educate, excite, and inspire, creating a safe space to discuss desires and boundaries while learning how to make every moment more pleasurable. Chapter 1. The Journey to Bliss. What is the G-spot and why it matters? The G-spot is one of the most talked about and often misunderstood aspects of female pleasure. Many people have heard of it, but few truly understand what it is or how to approach it in a way that feels natural, exciting, and fulfilling. This chapter is all about demystifying the G-spot, understanding its importance in intimacy, and learning how to embrace the journey of exploring it with your partner. To begin, let's clarify what the G-spot is. The G-spot, short for the Grafenberg spot, is not a single, magical button but rather a sensitive area located inside the vaginal wall, a few inches in, towards the front of the body. For some women, stimulating this area can lead to incredibly intense sensations, different from clitoral stimulation. It can feel deeper, more emotional, and even transformative when approached with care and patience. But here's the key: the G-spot isn't the same for everyone. For some women, it's highly sensitive and a direct path to pleasure, while for others, it might feel less pronounced. And that's perfectly normal. The real beauty of the G-spot isn't just in the sensations it can produce, but in what it represents. Exploring the G-spot is about connection, curiosity, and communication. It's an opportunity to break away from the routine, to slow down, and to truly understand what makes your partner feel good. Rather than focusing on achieving an orgasm as quickly as possible, finding and stimulating the G-spot encourages a mindset of discovery. When it comes to finding the G-spot, patience is essential. The G-spot can be elusive, especially if you approach it with stress or expectations. Relaxation is the first step. For a woman to feel comfortable exploring this part of her body, she needs to feel safe and connected with her partner. Building this foundation starts long before you even get to the bedroom. Show her that you're attentive to her needs, both physically and emotionally. Compliment her, make her laugh, and let her know she's cherished. When a woman feels confident and at ease, her body responds more openly to touch and exploration. Setting the right atmosphere can make all the difference. Dim the lights, play soft music, and create a space where she feels completely at ease. This isn't just about stimulation, it's about connection. Begin with gentle foreplay. Kiss her neck, caress her body, and let her know that your focus is on her pleasure. By taking your time and building trust, you set the stage for deeper intimacy. To locate the G-spot, start with gentle touch. Using your fingers, explore the inner front wall of her vagina. The G-spot often has a slightly different texture compared to the surrounding area. It may feel ridged or sponge-like. Every woman is unique, so don't expect an obvious "here it is" moment. Pay attention to her reactions. If she moans, arches her back, or shows signs of pleasure, you may be in the right spot. Keep in mind that communication is crucial here. Don't be afraid to ask her what feels good and what doesn't. Once you find the G-spot, stimulation should be slow and steady. A come-hither motion with your fingers is often effective. Pay attention to her cues and adjust accordingly. Some women prefer firm pressure, while others enjoy a lighter touch. The key is to remain present and responsive to her needs. If she feels like you're rushing or distracted, it can disrupt the moment. Now, let's talk about why the G-spot matters. First and foremost, exploring the G-spot can unlock a new level of pleasure for many women. The sensations it produces are often described as more internal and full-bodied compared to clitoral stimulation. Some women even report experiencing a different type of orgasm when their G-spot is stimulated, often referred to as a G-spot orgasm. But the G-spot isn't just about physical pleasure. Stimulating this area can evoke deep emotional responses. Some women feel an intense sense of release, both physically and emotionally, when their G-spot is explored. It's not uncommon for women to feel more vulnerable during this type of stimulation, which is why trust and communication are so important. Beyond the sensations and emotions, exploring the G-spot can strengthen your relationship. When you take the time to understand and prioritize her pleasure, it shows her that you care about her needs. This level of attentiveness can bring you closer together, both in and out of the bedroom. It's important to remember that not every woman will experience intense pleasure from G-spot stimulation, and that's okay. Pleasure is a journey, not a destination. The goal isn't to force an outcome but to enjoy the process of discovery together. If the G-spot doesn't feel particularly sensitive for her, there are countless other ways to create intimacy and pleasure. The G-spot is just one piece of a much larger puzzle when it comes to female sexuality. In the end, finding and exploring the G-spot is about more than just physical touch. It's about connection, trust, and the joy of discovering new ways to bring pleasure to the person you care about. It's about stepping outside of your comfort zone and embracing the beauty of intimacy in all its forms. So take your time, communicate openly, and enjoy every moment of this journey to bliss. As we move through the book, you'll learn more about techniques, positions, and approaches to keep things exciting and fulfilling. For now, remember that the most important tool in exploring the G-spot is your willingness to listen, learn, and share this journey with your partner. Pleasure is a shared experience, and the journey is where the magic truly happens. Chapter 2: Mapping Her Desire, Understanding Her Pleasure Points. Exploring her pleasure points is an intimate journey that goes far beyond any single spot. It's about understanding her body as a whole, discovering what brings her joy, and creating an experience that's deeply fulfilling for both of you. Women's bodies are incredibly sensitive, with countless areas that respond to touch, attention, and care. To truly connect with her, you need to pay attention to how her body reacts to your touch and listen to what she enjoys. While the G-spot is often celebrated as a source of incredible pleasure, it's important to know that every woman's experience with it is unique. The G-spot is a small area located about 2 to 3 inches inside the front wall of the vagina. When stimulated correctly, it can produce sensations that are different from clitoral stimulation. Some women describe it as a deeper, more internal pleasure that builds slowly but intensely. Finding and exploring this area requires patience, communication, and a willingness to experiment together. Before diving into the G-spot, start by exploring her outer body. The skin is the largest organ of the human body, and it's filled with nerve endings that can spark arousal when touched gently and intentionally. Her neck, shoulders, and back are sensitive areas that often respond well to light kisses and caresses. Moving lower, the breasts and nipples are incredibly sensitive for many women. Use your lips and hands to explore, paying close attention to how she reacts. Her moans, breathing patterns, and body movements will tell you if she enjoys what you're doing. As you move toward more intimate areas, take your time to build anticipation. The clitoris is often the center of external pleasure for women, with thousands of nerve endings making it highly responsive to touch. Gently stimulating the clitoris with your fingers, tongue, or even a toy can heighten her arousal and prepare her body for deeper exploration. Remember that the clitoris and the G-spot work together. By engaging both during intimacy, you can create a symphony of sensations that lead to intense pleasure. When it's time to explore the G-spot, make sure she is fully aroused. Arousal increases blood flow to the area, making it more sensitive and easier to locate. Start by inserting 1 or 2 fingers into her vagina, with your palm facing upward. Curl your fingers slightly as if making a come here motion. Gently explore the front wall, paying attention to any area that feels slightly textured or swollen. The G-spot often feels different from the surrounding tissue, like a spongy ridge. Once you've located it, use gentle pressure and rhythmic movements to stimulate the area. Communication is key during this process. Ask her how she feels and if she'd like you to adjust your pressure or speed. Some women find G-spot stimulation intensely pleasurable right away, while others may need more time to fully enjoy it. Be patient and let her guide you through her preferences. It's also important to understand that stimulating the G-spot doesn't always lead to an orgasm, and that's okay. The goal isn't to chase a specific outcome but to explore what feels good for her. Many women describe G-spot stimulation as deeply satisfying even without a climax, so focus on the journey rather than the destination. Beyond the G-spot, there are other internal pleasure points worth exploring. The A-spot, located deeper inside the vaginal canal near the cervix, can also produce pleasurable sensations when touched gently. Similarly, the entire vaginal wall is filled with sensitive nerve endings that respond to varying levels of pressure and stimulation. Experimenting with different angles, speeds, and motions can help you discover what she enjoys most. In addition to physical exploration, emotional connection plays a huge role in her experience of pleasure. Women often feel most comfortable and responsive when they trust their partner and feel emotionally safe. Take the time to build intimacy outside the bedroom through affectionate gestures, meaningful conversations, and genuine attention to her needs. When she feels valued and loved, it becomes easier for her to relax and enjoy the physical side of your relationship. Understanding her pleasure points is also about recognizing that every woman is different. What works for one person may not work for another, so keep an open mind and be willing to learn together. Encourage her to share what she likes and dislikes, and reassure her that there's no right or wrong way to explore intimacy. By making her feel heard and respected, you create an environment where she can fully embrace her desires. Lastly, don't underestimate the power of foreplay in mapping her pleasure. Foreplay isn't just a warm-up, it's an essential part of the experience that builds anticipation and heightens her sensitivity. From sensual massages to playful teasing, take the time to explore her body thoroughly before moving on to deeper stimulation. The more relaxed and aroused she feels, the more likely she is to enjoy the journey. In this chapter, you've learned that understanding her pleasure points is about much more than finding the G-spot. It's about approaching intimacy with curiosity, care, and a genuine desire to make her feel good. By taking the time to explore her body, communicate openly, and create a safe emotional space, you can deepen your connection and bring more passion into your relationship. Remember, the key is to enjoy the process together and celebrate the unique ways her body responds to your touch. Chapter 3: Fingers of Fire: How to Use Your Hands Like a Pro. Touch is one of the most powerful ways to communicate love, passion, and desire. When it comes to intimacy, the way you use your hands can make all the difference between an average experience and an unforgettable one. In this chapter, we'll explore how to use your fingers with precision, intention, and care to awaken your partner's deepest sensations, including the elusive G-spot. By mastering this art, you can bring your partner immense pleasure while strengthening your connection. First, let's talk about the importance of creating a relaxed and inviting environment. Before you even touch your partner, ensure she feels comfortable, safe, and aroused. Start by setting the mood with dim lighting, soft music, or even gentle whispers in her ear. Building anticipation through foreplay is essential, as it helps her body respond more sensitively to your touch. Pay attention to her responses during this time. This is where you start learning what she loves and what makes her feel alive. When the moment feels right to begin exploring with your hands, remember that slow and gentle movements are the key to unlocking her pleasure. Start with light, teasing touches on the outside of her body. Glide your fingers along her thighs, stomach, and hips, letting her know that you're fully present and focused on her pleasure. This kind of touch helps her relax, making her more receptive to the deeper sensations you'll introduce later. As you move closer to her intimate areas, take your time. The vulva and clitoris are highly sensitive, so approach these areas with care. Use your fingers to caress her outer labia first, gradually working inward as her arousal builds. Soft, circular motions can work wonders in this stage. Your goal is to help her feel comfortable and excited, not to rush toward climax. When she's fully aroused and ready for deeper stimulation, you can begin exploring her G-spot. The G-spot is located about 2 inches inside the vagina, on the upper wall, toward her belly. It's not a separate organ or distinct button, but rather a sensitive area of tissue that feels slightly different from the surrounding walls. It might have a spongier texture. Keep in mind that every woman's body is unique, so finding this spot may take some trial and error. To locate and stimulate her G-spot, insert 1 or 2 fingers into her vagina while your palm faces upward. Use a come-hither motion, curling your fingers gently toward the front wall. Start with light pressure and a slow rhythm, paying close attention to her reactions. Communication is crucial at this stage. Ask her how it feels, and encourage her to guide you if needed. The more comfortable she is, the more likely she is to experience intense sensations. G-spot stimulation can feel different from clitoral stimulation. Some women describe it as a deeper, more satisfying sensation that builds slowly. Others may need time to relax into the experience, as it can initially feel unfamiliar or even slightly uncomfortable. Be patient and responsive, adjusting your pressure, speed, and movements based on her feedback. Remember, the goal is to create a pleasurable experience, not to achieve a specific outcome. You can also combine G-spot stimulation with clitoral play for an even more intense experience. Use your free hand or a small toy to gently stimulate her clitoris while your fingers focus on her G-spot. This dual sensation can heighten her arousal and bring her closer to orgasm. The combination of internal and external stimulation often feels incredibly satisfying, as it engages multiple pleasure points at once. Pay attention to her breathing, moans, and body language as you continue. These nonverbal cues can tell you a lot about what she's enjoying. If her breathing becomes faster or her body starts to tense in a pleasurable way, she's likely close to climax. On the other hand, if she seems to pull away or doesn't respond as enthusiastically, it may be time to adjust your technique or take a short break. Always be attentive and willing to adapt. Every woman is different, and her preferences may change from moment to moment. It's also important to remember that G-spot play is as much about emotional connection as it is about physical touch. Make eye contact, share a smile, or whisper words of encouragement to let her know you're fully present with her. This emotional intimacy can make the experience even more meaningful and pleasurable for both of you. If your partner reaches orgasm from G-spot stimulation, it may feel different from a clitoral orgasm. Some women experience a sensation of warmth or a release of pressure, while others might feel a deep, throbbing pleasure that radiates throughout their body. For some, G-spot stimulation can even lead to female ejaculation, a perfectly natural and enjoyable response. If this happens, embrace it as a sign that she's deeply aroused and comfortable with you. However, not every woman will experience an orgasm from G-spot stimulation, and that's completely okay. Pleasure is about the journey, not just the destination. Celebrate the intimacy, trust, and connection you've built together, regardless of the outcome. Finally, always prioritize aftercare. Once the session ends, hold her close, stroke her hair, or whisper how much you enjoyed the moment. This simple act of affection reinforces the bond between you and makes her feel cherished and valued. Mastering the art of using your hands isn't about performing a specific technique perfectly. It's about tuning into your partner's needs, exploring her unique desires, and creating an experience that's as fulfilling for her as it is for you. With practice, patience, and a willingness to learn, your fingers can become a powerful tool for deepening your connection and unlocking new levels of pleasure. Chapter 4. Wet and Wild, Foreplay that Sets the Stage. Foreplay is the foundation of incredible intimacy, the warm-up that sets the tone for everything that follows. It's not just about physical touch but also about building anticipation, trust, and desire. When done right, foreplay becomes a shared journey that opens up emotional and physical pathways to pleasure. It's an experience that allows both partners to connect deeply, while preparing the body for heightened sensations and arousal. For many women, foreplay is not optional, it's essential. It helps them relax, feel desired, and become physically and mentally ready for intimacy. This is particularly important when it comes to exploring sensitive areas like the G-spot. Unlike what you may have heard, the G-spot isn't a magical button you press for instant pleasure. It's an erogenous zone located a few inches inside the vaginal wall, but its sensitivity and response are often tied to how aroused and comfortable a woman feels. That's where foreplay becomes a game changer. Foreplay begins long before you touch her body. It's about creating an environment where she feels comfortable and desired. Whispering something sweet or seductive in her ear, making her laugh, or simply showing her affection can set the stage. The mind is the most powerful erogenous zone, and when she feels appreciated, her body will naturally respond more. This mental and emotional buildup is key because physical stimulation alone isn't enough to unlock her deepest pleasure. Start slow. Rushing into foreplay can ruin the mood. Think of her body as a map you're learning to read. Begin with gentle kisses on her neck, shoulders, and collarbone. These areas are incredibly sensitive and can spark her arousal without overwhelming her. Pay attention to her reactions. Is she leaning into your touch? Is her breathing changing? These signs tell you what's working and guide you toward her most responsive areas. As her arousal builds, move your focus to her breasts. Some women find stimulation here to be incredibly pleasurable, while others may prefer a lighter touch. Always check in and notice her body language. Trace your fingers or lips over her skin, and as her breathing deepens, explore lower, keeping her anticipation high. Foreplay isn't just about where you touch, it's also about how you touch. Light, teasing strokes can build her desire, while firm, deliberate pressure can signal that you're ready to take things to the next level. One technique to enhance her arousal is to alternate between the two. Use your fingers or lips to create a rhythm that keeps her guessing, heightening her anticipation. This back and forth between teasing and giving more can be an incredible way to bring her to a state of full arousal. Now, as her body responds to your touch, you can begin to focus more on areas that are directly connected to her sexual pleasure, like her clitoris. The clitoris is a highly sensitive organ with thousands of nerve endings, and stimulation here can pave the way for deeper exploration. Use your fingers, tongue, or even a toy to slowly build intensity. The key is to take your time and let her guide you with her responses. The more comfortable and aroused she becomes, the more ready her body will be to enjoy the sensations that come from deeper stimulation, including the G-spot. When she's fully aroused, her body will naturally prepare itself for more. You may notice that she becomes wetter, her breathing intensifies, and her pelvic movements become more pronounced. This is the perfect time to start exploring the G-spot. To find it, use your fingers to enter her gently, with your palm facing upward. Curl your fingers slightly and explore the front wall of her vaginal canal. The G-spot is often described as feeling slightly ridged or spongy compared to the surrounding area. However, simply locating the G-spot isn't enough. It's important to stimulate it in a way that feels good for her. Gentle pressure and a rhythmic motion, like a come hither gesture, can work wonders. Combine this with external stimulation, such as massaging her clitoris, for an even more powerful effect. The key is to communicate and adjust based on her feedback. Does she moan softly or arch her back when you touch a certain way? These are signs you're on the right track. Foreplay isn't a race to the finish line. It's about creating a shared experience that builds trust, intimacy, and excitement. Take breaks to kiss her passionately or whisper in her ear about how much you're enjoying this time with her. These moments reinforce the emotional connection that makes physical pleasure even more meaningful. Don't forget the power of lubrication. If she isn't as wet as she or you would like, there's no shame in using a high-quality lubricant. Sometimes, external factors like stress or timing can affect natural lubrication, and adding lube can make the experience more comfortable and enjoyable for both of you. Lastly, remember that foreplay is as much about what you give as how you receive her energy in return. When you invest time and effort into her pleasure, it's often reflected back in her desire to please you. This creates a beautiful cycle of mutual enjoyment and connection that makes every intimate moment more fulfilling. Foreplay is not just a prelude to sex, it's an essential part of making love. It sets the stage for deeper exploration, intensifies sensations, and allows both partners to feel valued and desired. When approached with patience, attentiveness, and a willingness to learn, foreplay becomes more than a physical act. It becomes an art form that transforms intimacy into something truly extraordinary. Chapter 5. Deep Strokes, the Art of Making Love. Making love is more than just physical intimacy. It's about creating a shared experience where both partners feel connected, understood, and fulfilled. It's a dance of emotions, sensations, and trust, where communication and attentiveness are key. When it comes to finding and stimulating the G-spot, this connection becomes even more important. The G-spot is often described as a hidden treasure within a woman's body, a sensitive area that can unlock immense pleasure when approached with care, patience, and the right techniques. To begin with, understanding the G-spot is not about searching for a mythical location, but about understanding her body in a deeper way. Located about 2 to 3 inches inside the vaginal canal, along the front wall, The G-spot is not a fixed point. Instead, it is a zone that feels slightly different from the surrounding tissue, often softer and more textured, almost like the surface of a walnut. The journey to discovering this spot is not about pressure or force, but about communication and exploration. The first step to reaching the G-spot starts with setting the mood and ensuring she feels relaxed and aroused. When a woman is turned on, her body naturally prepares itself for intimacy, with increased blood flow to the vaginal area, heightened sensitivity, and lubrication. This arousal is essential because the G-spot is more responsive when she's fully engaged. You can start by creating a comfortable, safe environment, dim lighting, soft music, or even just a quiet space where she feels at ease. Begin with foreplay, focusing on her entire body to build anticipation. Kisses along her neck, whispers in her ear, or a gentle massage can help her relax and feel desired. Take your time with her breasts, thighs, and other sensitive areas, gradually moving closer to the center of her pleasure. Pay attention to her reactions. Every sigh, moan, or movement can guide you toward what she enjoys. When you're ready to explore the G-spot, use your fingers initially to locate and stimulate this area. Inserting 1 or 2 fingers into her vagina, curl them upward in a come here motion toward her belly. Move slowly and pay attention to how she responds. The G-spot often feels slightly raised or ridged compared to the smooth walls of the vagina. Gentle, rhythmic pressure is key. Too much can feel uncomfortable, while too little might not be stimulating enough. Remember, every woman's body is different, so what feels good for one person might not work for another. As you explore, her feedback is crucial. Ask her how she feels, both verbally and through her body language. Some women may feel a buildup of pressure or an urge to urinate as the G-spot is stimulated, especially if they're not familiar with the sensation. Reassure her that this is natural and part of the process. Encourage her to let go and embrace the experience. Deep strokes during penetration can also enhance G-spot stimulation. Certain positions are particularly effective for this, such as doggy style, where the angle naturally aligns the penis with the front wall of the vagina. Another great option is missionary with a slight twist. Placing a pillow under her hips can tilt her pelvis, allowing for deeper penetration that targets the G-spot. The cowgirl position, where she's on top, gives her control over the angle and depth, letting her guide the stimulation to what feels best. When you're making love, think of each movement as a way to connect with her, not just physically but emotionally. Use slow, deliberate strokes to start, paying attention to how her body responds. Gradually increase the intensity as she becomes more aroused. Don't be afraid to switch up the rhythm or angle. Variety can keep the experience exciting and help you find what works best for her. The key to successful G-spot stimulation is patience and focus. This is not about achieving a specific goal, but about creating a pleasurable experience for her. As you stimulate her G-spot, you may notice her breathing change, her body tensing or relaxing, or her vocalizing more freely. These are signs that she's enjoying the sensation and getting closer to climax. Encourage her to let you know what feels good. This openness can make the experience more intimate and fulfilling for both of you. For many women, G-spot stimulation can lead to powerful orgasms, often described as deeper and more intense than clitoral orgasms. Some women may even experience female ejaculation, often referred to as squirting, during G-spot stimulation. This can be a new and exciting experience for both partners. However, it's important to note that not every woman will react the same way, and that's perfectly normal. The goal isn't to force a specific outcome but to enjoy the process and celebrate what feels good for her. Deep strokes are not just about technique, they're about intention. When you focus on her pleasure and make her feel safe and valued, the physical connection becomes even more meaningful. After all, making love is as much about the emotional connection as it is about the physical act. By being attentive, patient, and open, you create a space where she can fully let go and enjoy the moment. Finally, remember that intimacy doesn't end when the act is over. Take time to hold her, talk to her, and express how much you value her. This afterglow strengthens your bond and leaves her feeling cherished and satisfied. Making love, especially when exploring sensitive areas like the G-spot, is about more than just technique. It's about trust, communication, and a shared journey of discovery. Chapter 6. The Big O, Helping Her Reach Her Peak. When it comes to intimacy, few things feel more rewarding than helping your partner reach the peak of pleasure. For many women, the journey to orgasm is complex and can be influenced by physical, emotional, and psychological factors. The Big O, as it is often called, is not just about the final moment but rather a culmination of connection, trust, and understanding. The G-spot plays a significant role in this process, but it is just one part of a much broader experience. In this chapter, we'll explore how to guide your partner to her orgasm and why it's important to focus on the entire experience, not just the end result. The first step to helping her reach her peak is creating a relaxed and intimate environment. Sexuality isn't just about the act itself, it's about the connection between you and your partner. To truly understand how to bring her to orgasm, you must start by being present. This means focusing on her desires and allowing her to feel comfortable and open with you. Emotional intimacy often translates into better physical pleasure, so start with gentle, affectionate touch and soft words to help her feel at ease. Kissing, hugging, and whispering sweet things can help her relax, which will ultimately lead to a more pleasurable experience. As her body begins to respond, it's essential to understand that every woman's journey to orgasm is different. For some, the path is quick and intense, while for others, it may take more time and patience. One of the most important things to keep in mind is that orgasm is not always guaranteed, and that's okay. What matters most is that you both enjoy the experience and that you stay tuned to her reactions. If she's enjoying herself, the chances of her reaching the Big O increase. If she's not feeling it, don't pressure her. Instead, gently change what you're doing and listen to her body's cues. The G-spot plays a central role for many women in achieving orgasm, and learning how to stimulate it can significantly enhance her pleasure. Located a few inches inside the vaginal canal on the front wall, the G-spot is an area that, when stimulated correctly, can lead to intense sensations and even powerful orgasms. However, it's important to understand that not all women are equally sensitive to G-spot stimulation. Some women may find it incredibly pleasurable, while others may not feel much at all. The key is communication. As you explore her body, ask her how things feel and what she likes. Let her guide you, and adjust your approach as needed. To begin G-spot stimulation, make sure she's fully aroused and relaxed. Engaging in plenty of foreplay like kissing, oral sex, and manual stimulation will help ensure that her body is ready for deeper penetration. Arousal increases the sensitivity of the G-spot, making it easier for her to reach orgasm when the spot is properly stimulated. As you enter her, you can try using your fingers to explore the area. Gently insert 1 or 2 fingers and curl them upward toward the front wall of the vagina. The G-spot will feel slightly rough or spongy compared to the surrounding tissue. Try different pressures and motions to see what she responds to best. For some women, the G-spot can be especially responsive to rhythmic pressure or a come here motion with your fingers. If you're using your hands, Take your time to experiment with different movements. Slow, deliberate strokes can allow her to feel the sensations gradually build, while quicker, firmer strokes might intensify the feeling. As you stimulate the G-spot, pay attention to her reactions. If she moans, presses her hips toward you, or becomes more vocal, you're likely on the right track. It's important to communicate throughout the experience. Ask her if the pressure feels good, if you should speed up or slow down, or if she would prefer a different technique altogether. While G-spot stimulation can be an incredibly effective way to help her achieve orgasm, it's not the only technique that should be used. Many women require clitoral stimulation to reach orgasm, and for some, this is more important than G-spot stimulation. Combining both types of stimulation can lead to a stronger, more intense orgasm. While you're stimulating her G-spot, you can also use your thumb or another finger to gently rub her clitoris. This simultaneous stimulation can help build pleasure and increase her chances of reaching orgasm. Incorporating different positions into your lovemaking can also make a big difference in reaching the big O. Some women find that certain positions enhance G-spot stimulation, allowing for deeper penetration and more pressure on the spot. Positions where you or your partner can control the angle of penetration, such as doggy style or missionary with her legs raised, can be ideal for G-spot stimulation. Experiment with different angles and depths, and pay attention to her feedback. The goal is to find what feels best for her, so take it slow and don't be afraid to adjust as you go along. It's also essential to remember that orgasm isn't always the goal. For many women, the journey to orgasm is more fulfilling than the orgasm itself. The emotional and physical connection that builds throughout intimate moments is what makes the experience meaningful. If she doesn't reach orgasm every time, that's perfectly normal. What matters most is that you both enjoy each other and feel close, satisfied, and loved. The big O should never be seen as a benchmark of success or failure. Instead, it should be a natural result of a shared experience of pleasure, trust, and communication. Finally, after the experience, take time to cuddle, reassure her, and let her know how much you enjoyed being with her. The afterglow is just as important as the build-up, and this moment of tenderness can strengthen your bond and increase feelings of intimacy. When you're both connected emotionally and physically, orgasms become more than just physical release, they become moments of shared joy, satisfaction, and connection. Understanding how to help her reach the big O is not about following a strict set of rules. It's about being present, exploring her body, and communicating openly to create a safe space where she can fully experience pleasure. By learning the nuances of G-spot stimulation and being attentive to her desires, you can enhance both your partner's satisfaction. Chapter 7. Afterglow Magic. What happens after sex matters too. The moments following intimacy hold a magic of their own, often overlooked but equally significant. After the physical act of sex, emotions are heightened, connections are deepened, and both partners are left in a vulnerable yet beautiful state. This time, known as the afterglow, isn't just about basking in the pleasure of what you've just shared. It's an opportunity to nurture the bond between you and your partner, both physically and emotionally. The afterglow can transform a satisfying sexual experience into an unforgettable memory, and understanding how to make the most of this time can have a lasting impact on your relationship. After sex, the body is still experiencing the effects of arousal and release. For women, especially, the sensations around sensitive areas like the G-spot may linger. This heightened sensitivity can be a wonderful opportunity to explore gentle touches and soft caresses. Instead of thinking of sex as ending with orgasm, consider it as a continuum that flows into these tender moments. Gently stroking her abdomen or tracing soft patterns along her inner thighs can amplify the pleasure she feels in the afterglow. These gestures communicate affection and attentiveness, making her feel cherished beyond the physical act. This is also a time to slow down and appreciate your partner. Often, during sex, there's a natural focus on reaching the climax, but afterglow moments allow you to shift your attention to simply being present with one another. Holding her close, whispering sweet words, or kissing her forehead are small but powerful ways to show that your connection goes beyond the physical. It reassures her that she's not just a participant in a fleeting act but a valued partner in your shared intimacy. For many women, the emotional connection during and after sex is just as important as the physical. The G-spot, being a source of deep, internal pleasure, often carries an emotional resonance when stimulated. Women who experience G-spot orgasms frequently describe them as more intense and emotionally charged. In the afterglow, this emotional openness can linger, creating a unique opportunity for meaningful communication. You might find that this is the perfect time to talk whether about the experience you just shared or about anything on her mind. These moments of vulnerability can deepen trust and strengthen your bond. Physical comfort plays a huge role in the afterglow as well. After intense intimacy, her body might feel sensitive, warm, or even slightly fatigued. Offer her water, adjust the blankets, or help her find a comfortable position to relax. If she's particularly sensitive around the G-spot or other erogenous zones, be gentle and patient. Sometimes she might want to lie quietly in your arms, while other times she may want to laugh or share her thoughts. Listening to her needs in these moments is key to showing your care and attentiveness. Another layer to the afterglow is how it sets the tone for your overall relationship. A loving and connected afterglow can leave her feeling secure, appreciated, and eager to explore more with you in the future. Conversely, neglecting this time or rushing through it can make her feel unimportant or disconnected. Taking the time to nurture her emotional and physical needs after sex shows that you value her as a whole person, not just her body. For couples exploring the G-spot, the afterglow can be an exciting time to reflect on the experience. Ask her how she felt, what she enjoyed, and whether there's anything she'd like to try differently next time. These conversations don't need to be heavy or clinical, they can be lighthearted and fun, keeping the mood intimate and playful. Remember, everyone's preferences are different, and being open to feedback ensures that your shared experiences continue to improve and evolve. The afterglow is also a great time to express gratitude. Telling her how much you enjoyed being close to her or how beautiful she looked during your intimate moments can mean the world to her. Compliments given during this time carry extra weight because they come from a place of raw emotion and honesty. She'll feel more confident and appreciated, which can enhance your intimacy in the long run. It's important to understand that afterglow rituals don't have to be grand gestures. Often, the simplest acts are the most meaningful. Stroking her hair, cuddling close, or even just lying in silence while holding hands can create an atmosphere of peace and connection. These moments remind her that your relationship is built on more than just physical attraction, it's built on mutual care and affection. If the two of you have shared a particularly intense moment of G-spot stimulation, the afterglow might also be a time when she experiences lingering sensations. These sensations can range from a pleasant warmth in her lower abdomen to a sense of emotional release. Acknowledge these feelings and encourage her to share them with you. This not only shows your interest in her experience but also creates a safe space for her to explore her desires and feelings more openly. Ultimately, the afterglow is about creating a sense of intimacy that lasts beyond the bedroom. It's about showing her that you're attentive to her needs, interested in her feelings, and committed to building a relationship based on mutual respect and pleasure. By taking the time to be present, affectionate, and attentive during the afterglow, you're setting the stage for a deeper connection and a more fulfilling sexual relationship overall. Remember, intimacy doesn't end when the physical act is over. The afterglow is a vital part of the experience, and how you handle this time can leave a lasting impression. When she feels cared for, listened to, and valued, she'll be more likely to open up to you emotionally and physically in the future. Embrace the magic of the afterglow, and let it become a cherished part of your intimate connection. Chapter 8: Exploring Fantasies, talking about what turns her on. When it comes to intimacy, one of the most important aspects of a fulfilling relationship is communication. Often, people shy away from talking openly about their desires and fantasies, either because they feel embarrassed or worry about judgment. However, understanding and exploring what turns your partner on can create a deeper connection, not only sexually but emotionally. This chapter is dedicated to exploring fantasies and how to talk about them in a way that enhances your intimacy and pleasure. Fantasies are a natural part of human sexuality, and they vary widely from person to person. They can involve different scenarios, power dynamics, or even things that may seem outside the norm. The beauty of sexual fantasies is that they allow you to express hidden desires that might not necessarily play out in real life, but can still be deeply satisfying when shared with a trusting partner. The key to exploring fantasies in a healthy and fulfilling way is creating an environment where both partners feel comfortable expressing what excites them without fear of judgment or rejection. One of the most crucial parts of exploring fantasies is communication. Many people assume that their partner can automatically read their mind or understand what they like. While some might be able to pick up on certain cues, it's essential to have open discussions about desires, preferences, and fantasies. These conversations should come from a place of curiosity and openness, not pressure or expectation. Begin by making sure that your partner feels heard and respected. Create an atmosphere of safety where both of you can be vulnerable and honest without worrying about being judged or ridiculed. When talking about what turns her on, you might want to start by asking open-ended questions. These could include inquiries like, "What's something you've always wanted to try?" Or, "Is there a fantasy that you've never shared with anyone before?" Allow her to open up at her own pace. She may or may not be ready to share everything, and that's okay. Some fantasies are personal, while others can be shared more easily. Respect her boundaries and take the conversation slowly, giving her the time and space she needs to feel comfortable. During these conversations, it's essential to approach fantasies with a sense of adventure and respect. The goal is not to pressure her into fulfilling every fantasy immediately, but to open a dialogue about what feels exciting, playful, or even taboo. What's most important is that you both share in the experience of discovery. Sometimes, the very act of sharing a fantasy can create a sense of intimacy and trust that enhances your connection outside of the bedroom as well. As you begin to explore what turns her on, one of the areas you may want to discuss is her body's pleasure zones, especially the G-spot. The G-spot is often a focal point in sexual fantasies for many women because of its potential to offer intense sensations when stimulated correctly. Discussing this area with your partner can help both of you understand how it feels and how it can be stimulated to bring her pleasure. It's crucial to note that not all women may feel a strong connection to their G-spot, and it's important to communicate with her throughout the process to determine what feels best. If she is open to the idea of exploring the G-spot, the conversation can shift toward how to stimulate it. You can ask her if she has ever had a G-spot orgasm or if she's curious to see what it feels like. If she's uncertain, you can offer to explore it together in a calm, relaxed way, taking your time to ensure she's comfortable. The G-spot is located a few inches inside the vaginal canal, on the anterior wall, toward the belly button. Gentle pressure and rhythmic motion are often key to stimulating it, and this can be part of a fantasy scenario where you take turns discovering what feels good for her. Let her guide you by telling you what she likes and what turns her on. Incorporating the G-spot into your fantasies is also about understanding that the pleasure zone is not just about physical sensations but the emotional context surrounding the experience. Many women associate the stimulation of their G-spot with deep intimacy, so setting the right mood is crucial. Creating a comfortable, intimate environment, whether that's through lighting, music, or simply focusing on each other without distractions, can help your partner feel at ease and open to exploring her desires. Let her take the lead in setting the pace, and encourage her to share how she's feeling throughout the experience. Another important factor when discussing fantasies is to remember that they can evolve over time. What might excite her today might not be as thrilling in the future. As a couple, it's important to check in regularly about what is working and what isn't. The most exciting part of exploring fantasies is that there's always room for growth and change. What she wants to try can shift based on her mood, comfort level, and how connected she feels to you. Being flexible and willing to adapt ensures that both of you stay engaged and excited about exploring new things together. Fantasies also provide an opportunity to experiment with different types of intimacy. For example, some fantasies involve role-play or power dynamics, while others might be more focused on the act of exploration itself. While discussing fantasies, it's essential to distinguish between what is a real desire versus something that is simply playful or imaginative. It's important to be clear about boundaries and respect what your partner is comfortable with. Consent is the foundation of any fantasy exploration, and both partners should always feel empowered to say no to anything that doesn't feel right. Lastly, remember that exploring fantasies isn't just about physical acts, it's about connection. The more you communicate openly about what turns you both on, the more you can explore your sexual relationship in a way that's deeply satisfying. The journey of discovering new pleasures together is what keeps a relationship exciting and intimate. Whether it's the G-spot, new positions, or fantasies that take you both into uncharted territories, these explorations strengthen your bond and bring you closer as a couple. Chapter 9. Playful Passion. Adding fun to your sex life. Sex doesn't have to be predictable, routine, or dull. In fact, one of the most exciting aspects of intimacy is the ability to keep things fresh, fun, and full of surprises. In this chapter, we explore how to bring a playful attitude into your sex life, which not only enhances pleasure but also strengthens the connection between partners. When you add fun into the mix, you're more likely to feel relaxed, adventurous, and connected, all of which are essential ingredients for creating deeper and more fulfilling intimacy. The first step in adding fun to your sex life is to remove any pressures or expectations. Many people approach sex with a goal-oriented mindset, focusing too much on reaching an orgasm or achieving perfection. This kind of thinking can make intimacy feel like a task instead of a shared experience. Instead, try to focus on enjoying the journey rather than rushing to the finish line. Allow yourself and your partner to explore each other without a rigid plan or outcome. You can start by incorporating more playful touches, teasing, or gentle caresses, things that may seem small but are incredibly effective in building intimacy. One important aspect of playful passion is communication. It might sound simple, But many couples forget to talk openly about what they like and want in the bedroom. If you're feeling shy or uncertain, that's okay, it's natural. The goal here isn't to create pressure but rather to spark curiosity in each other. You could start by asking questions like, "What feels good to you?" or "Do you like it when I touch you here?" Keep the conversation lighthearted, even a little flirtatious, and watch how your partner responds. Sometimes, simply asking for feedback in a playful way can lead to new discoveries that make sex feel more exciting. Incorporating variety into your intimate life is another fantastic way to add fun and playfulness. Try switching things up even with small changes. This could mean experimenting with different positions or exploring new settings, moving from the bedroom to the living room, the kitchen, or even a secluded spot outdoors. Changing the environment can create new sensations and make sex feel less routine. When you explore new settings together, it can help reignite the passion and excitement that might have faded in the past. Think of it as creating new memories together, each time bringing you closer as a couple. Sex toys and other forms of adult play are also great tools for bringing an element of fun into the bedroom. If you're hesitant about using toys, start small, perhaps a vibrator or a couple of massage oils. These simple additions can offer new sensations, especially when used to stimulate areas like the G-spot. For example, the G-spot, often referred to as the pleasure zone, is an area inside the vagina that can respond to pressure and movement. When you add a toy designed specifically for G-spot stimulation, it can lead to heightened pleasure and even more intense orgasms. Remember that fun in the bedroom doesn't just come from new positions or environments, it can also come from exploring new ways of enhancing pleasure using tools that make the experience more exciting. In addition to physical exploration, playful passion can also mean being more creative with your fantasies. Sharing fantasies with your partner can be incredibly liberating and intimate. Talk about the things you've always wanted to try but never had the chance to explore. Sometimes these fantasies may be subtle, like incorporating more kissing or slow caresses, or they might be more daring. The key is to have an open mind and be willing to experiment together. You can create scenarios or role-play that feel exciting and bring new energy into your sexual dynamic. It's about deepening the connection through shared experiences that are both fun and fulfilling. Another way to keep things playful is by focusing on the anticipation. Don't rush into full intimacy right away. Instead, tease each other, build anticipation, and create moments of intense connection before getting to the physical part of sex. For example, slow down the build-up to orgasm by incorporating more prolonged foreplay, which might include kissing, massaging, or touching her G-spot gently. When the G-spot is stimulated with care and attention, it can lead to a sense of fullness and pleasure that can be incredibly satisfying. By making the journey as enjoyable as the destination, you'll feel more connected and excited. Intimacy should also feel spontaneous at times. Being playful means being able to embrace the moment, to feel free from judgment, and to act on the desire that bubbles up between you and your partner. Try to leave space for those moments where you can act on impulse and enjoy sex without overthinking it. This doesn't always mean planning for a perfect encounter, it might just mean being more in tune with the energy in the room and seizing the opportunity when the mood strikes. For example, you might find that one touch, one kiss, or one glance sparks a playful moment that leads to passionate intimacy. It's about not letting routine or expectations take away from the joy of exploring your desires together. In the context of G-spot stimulation, incorporating playfulness means being gentle and attentive rather than mechanical. When you explore the G-spot, think of it as a dance between both partners. Pay attention to your partner's body language and sounds, as these will guide you in how to continue. Experiment with different types of pressure, movements, and angles to see what feels best. Sometimes a little humor or light-hearted conversation can help ease any tension, making the experience feel more natural and relaxed. Remember, the goal is to explore her pleasure with curiosity and attentiveness, rather than rushing toward any specific outcome. Finally, always remember that fun in the bedroom isn't about trying to live up to unrealistic expectations. It's about creating an environment where both you and your partner feel comfortable, valued, and open to experimentation. Don't be afraid to laugh if something unexpected happens or to take things slow if you're trying something new. The most important part is enjoying the experience together without the pressure of getting it right. Chapter 10. Love Beyond the Sheets, Building Emotional Connection. Intimacy is not just about physical touch or reaching a climax. It is about the bond you share with your partner. The emotional connection that exists outside the bedroom plays a huge role in making the experience of sex and pleasure truly meaningful. If you want to enhance your sexual connection and really understand your partner's desires, it's important to nurture the emotional aspect of your relationship. After all, emotional closeness is the foundation upon which great intimacy is built. This chapter focuses on how to foster that bond, making intimacy not only more fulfilling but also deeply satisfying. Emotional intimacy is about creating a safe and trusting environment where both partners feel heard, valued, and respected. It begins long before the bedroom. When your partner feels secure emotionally, she is more likely to open up and share her wants and needs, both sexually and personally. Emotional closeness leads to deeper understanding and makes her more relaxed, which is essential when it comes to exploring the G-spot or any other form of intimate connection. When both partners feel emotionally connected, sex stops being just a physical act and transforms into a shared experience of closeness, trust, and love. One of the key aspects of building an emotional connection is learning to communicate effectively. Talking openly and honestly about desires, boundaries, and needs is vital for creating that bond. Many people, particularly women, feel vulnerable when talking about their sexual desires. It is important to approach such conversations with sensitivity and care. For example, instead of focusing solely on techniques like finding the G-spot or specific acts, consider asking your partner how she feels when you touch her or if there are certain areas or types of touch that make her feel more loved and appreciated. Pay attention to her responses. These conversations are essential in uncovering her sexual needs, which include both physical sensations and emotional comfort. Sexual intimacy becomes more enjoyable when it's coupled with emotional understanding. For women, the G-spot is a unique and sensitive area that, when stimulated properly, can offer intense pleasure. However, many women may find it hard to fully relax and open up to explore this part of their body unless they feel emotionally secure. A partner who understands her desires and is emotionally present can help her achieve this state of relaxation, leading to a greater sense of trust. This connection makes it easier for her to reach the heightened pleasure that comes from G-spot stimulation. Building emotional intimacy means taking time to make her feel cherished and cared for in and out of the bedroom. Physical pleasure and emotional closeness go hand in hand, and creating that deep emotional bond ensures that both partners are comfortable exploring new aspects of intimacy together. Creating an emotionally supportive environment requires patience and mindfulness. It is important to recognize that not all sexual encounters will lead to orgasm or perfect G-spot stimulation. It's not about getting everything right. Rather, it's about the willingness to connect and explore each other's needs with understanding and respect. Sometimes, a woman may not even reach orgasm through G-spot stimulation, but that doesn't mean the experience wasn't deeply fulfilling. The emotional connection you share during those moments of exploration, communication, and touch often outweighs the physical climax. Embracing this mindset will help both partners grow closer, making sex more enjoyable and meaningful. Another way to enhance emotional connection is by nurturing other forms of physical affection. Touching, hugging, kissing, and holding hands are essential in fostering emotional closeness. These small acts of affection build intimacy and ensure that both partners feel seen and valued. It's easy to focus only on the sexual acts themselves, but real connection stems from how you treat each other in everyday moments. For instance, a thoughtful gesture like complimenting your partner or asking her how her day went shows that you care about her beyond just physical attraction. These simple acts of kindness create a foundation for deeper emotional connection, which ultimately enhances the sexual relationship. Sexual intimacy also benefits from a willingness to try new things together. Experimenting with different ways to touch and stimulate the body, such as G-spot exploration, is a great way to grow together as a couple. However, these explorations are more satisfying when they are done with mutual respect and understanding. Being emotionally connected means you feel comfortable discussing what excites you and what you'd like to try, all while ensuring your partner feels equally heard. The emotional security created by these open discussions makes it easier to enjoy activities that deepen physical pleasure, like G-spot exploration, without fear or hesitation. It's important to recognize that the G-spot is not just a destination to reach, but an ongoing journey of shared discovery. When both partners are in sync emotionally, every step of that journey becomes more enjoyable. Creating a healthy emotional bond involves support, compassion, and empathy. Sometimes, issues in the bedroom are linked to deeper emotional struggles or stresses that may not even be related to the relationship. Emotional connection means being there for your partner when they need comfort, understanding when they're feeling down, and offering reassurance when they're uncertain. When your partner knows you're there for her emotionally, it builds a stronger foundation for physical intimacy. This security allows her to feel more comfortable exploring her sexual desires, including G-spot stimulation, without worry. Feeling emotionally supported can help her reach a level of relaxation and arousal that allows her to fully embrace the physical pleasure that sex can bring. A great deal of intimacy is built on being in tune with each other's needs, both physical and emotional. The deeper your emotional connection, the more comfortable your partner will feel exploring parts of her body, like the G-spot, that might otherwise remain unexplored. As you continue to develop your emotional bond, you'll discover new ways to stimulate her body and respond to her cues. By fostering this bond, you'll ensure that both of you experience the full benefits of intimacy, physical pleasure, emotional connection, and trust. Love beyond the sheets is what truly enriches a relationship. When emotional intimacy is prioritized, sexual experiences become more meaningful and fulfilling. The ability to talk openly, touch tenderly, and connect deeply in both physical and emotional ways makes exploring sexual pleasure like finding the G-spot more than just an activity. It becomes an experience shared between two people who truly understand and care for each other. The emotional connection you nurture will guide you through every exploration, making each moment in your sexual journey even more profound and satisfying.